everyone, and welcome to the What's Up Pilgrim podcast. This is a safe place where we talk about what's going on around our community at Pilgrim School. Our main purpose is to document the events and have deep conversations between people at Pilgrim, as well as to create an open place for everyone to share their experiences, make new connections, and understand each other more. We will also invite some special guest speakers to participate in this podcast.
This is our third episode of What's Up Pilgrim. I'm your co-host, Tiffany, and thank you, Angus, for introducing us.
Hi, Tiffany. Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. In today's episode, we are so excited to talk about how students feel about going back to school after 1 year of being antisocial.
And especially, we will be interviewing another special guest to share about how the heck the school staff and faculty, chop, 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 to prepare for students to go back on campus.
We made a survey and asked students who went back to school what their opinion about it was. After reading it, Tiffany, what do you think the students enjoyed most about being back at school, and as a student who went back yourself?
I think most of the students are very happy to be back on campus. When I read the result, about 50% of the survey students said that they're satisfied with being back on campus. And that was actually not surprising to me because personally, I really enjoy going back to school, the classes are absolutely better. I can interact with the student. I can interact with my classmate, with my teachers. I can ask them questions and make a joke that is not like taking 5 minutes for them to understand. And it's just better to socialize with my friends, and yeah, that's pretty much.
What do you think the students didn't like being back at school, and what did you not like about it?
Well, so in the survey, there are some students' response that are really interesting, so I will share with you a few of them. The first one that I think is really good is that student said, I think that there should be more lunch tables in the Hoover Gardens and in the middle school courtyard. I have been to both for lunch, and the tables are not 6 feet apart, and there's not enough room for everyone to eat 6 feet apart. So I think that's kind of true. Another one is mask and social distancing protocols are inconvenient, but understandable. That one's kind of funny, but yeah, that's true. And another student says social distancing is a little annoying because you want to be able to hang out with your friends, but it is hard to because of the 6 feet apart. Oh, and the last one though, I really like this one. I strongly don't like the hours and hours of breaks I have consecutively. Like today and tomorrow, 5 hours of async and not even 3 full hours of classes. That's what is kind of true, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of agree. Even I'm online personally, but it's still like the same thing. Like the breaks are the same. I agree. It's a lot.
Yeah, and I don't even know where the 3 hours that we have come from. We have because last year we started at 8:30, right? And then this year we started at 9, which is shorter. But I don't know where all the free time that we suddenly have.
What happened to the other classes?
I know, it was so funny, but I guess it's just a good thing, in those hours, maybe try to work on your homework, rest a little bit, go socialize so that you don't have to, do the homework at home. Yeah, what do you do in those breaks since you're at home?
Sometimes I reserve them for homework, and then sometimes, I don't know, I just use them if I have a meeting during lunch or I use lunch to complete homework, I can just use it to, I don't know, eat lunch then even.
Yeah. Well, for me, so far, I love all of the facilities that the school provides us. I can't complain. They did their best, and the sofa, the couches are so comfortable, and I think they did such an amazing job with that. However, though, I'd say going back to school after 1 year is really hard. I did not expect it to be this hard, because it was so challenging. All of us just at home, lying in bed and wake up 15 minutes before class. But now I have to wake up early and get ready for school and all of that. It's kind of fun, but it's too fast. Like I feel like on that Sunday, you just like, oh, still sleeping. But then the next Monday of school, you just have to change immediately. Which, yeah. And on the survey, there was a question about what the student who went back thought about hybrid learning for the students online. Because you are an online student, do you think that what they said was accurate? If not, how did you feel about it?
Well, I'd like to share some of the what the students said. So I'll say, here's one. I do not think hybrid learning is satisfactory. It seems difficult for the students online to learn. It might just be because this is the first week with hybrid learning and I need some getting used to. That's the first one. Here's the second one. I think it is difficult for students online to engage with those in the classroom and vice versa. A lot of them are pretty similar. Here's the third one. I think it's okay, but sometimes it can be difficult for the online kids because it's hard to squeeze in an online person in an in-person class. And then the last one was, I wish it was just online.
No,
or
just
offline,
right? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny. Some students are just funny to read. What do you think, Angus?
Yeah, I mean, as an offline student, the offline classes I kind of got used to, and I adapted to the homework and the learning style of it, and I think I was pretty comfortable with it. Well, there is setbacks, like, because online learning, there's not a lot of social interaction at all. It's because it's like one person can talk only in like the meeting room. But I agree with the survey students for hybrid learning, because I think hybrid learning, it's harder to participate in a class that's in person because you can't really keep up as well, and at the same time, the people in person can't really pay attention to you as much either. So it's kind of this like rift, and I would say they're harder to socialize. I mean, I think they're harder to socialize in, and a little harder to learn in as well because things are going pretty fast in person.
I agree so much. Actually, that was last week. I stayed at home because I was sick, and then I joined an online class. It was terrible. I do not how you guys keep up with the class, because the teachers are far away, and when they speak, it's not directly, so it's kind of like far and just like in the background. You kind of like doze off. I don't know when. It's so easy to doze off, and it's just hard to engage. And when you ask questions, it just, I don't know how you guys did it, but you should go back to school if the learning does not seem to improve for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying, but I will soon, I think. Yeah.
Another question on the survey asking about academic improvements since going back, and it was mainly answered positively, and I think I kind of agree with them. Has online or hybrid learning made that improvement harder for you?
I would say first, online learning made academic improvement and learning in general a little harder. But after a while, I mean a long while, I definitely got used to it and I adapted, and I kind of got used to the way of online learning. Well, it did like remove the social aspect of school, as I said. I got used to it. But I think hybrid learning still lacks the social aspect for online students, I think. And it's harder to learn because it's harder to hear and understand all the information that teachers are saying during class. Teachers might be helping, though, by adding new speakers and microphones soon, and that will probably help online students like me.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like imagine it's like a robot speaker being on a desk like an actual student, and it just act like a student. That will definitely help you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and feedback, Angus. And I hope that in the last few weeks of school, you'll be able to interact with your classmates and teachers more in class, because it really sucks. But it's better than that. I wish that you can go back to school even like a few weeks, just to get that socializing back after a long summer. But hopefully, though, the new technology that you mentioned will be used soon in all classes so that other online students can engage more in class.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks, Tiffany.
Of course, no problem.
Alrighty. Now, here comes the next exciting session of today's episode. We will be interviewing Miss T. Hi, Miss T.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Misty. I'm so glad you're here. Please introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Miss T. I am the executive assistant to the director of secondary. So basically, I support Mr. Grady and the secondary faculty and all their needs.
First of all, I just want to ask that what was your initial reaction when you heard the school was going to close down and we were switching to online learning?
I mean, to be honest, there were a lot of initial reactions because I don't know if you remember that day, but the day that we shut down and we actually closed early, the teachers and all of us were thinking, oh, we're just going to shut down for a little bit, but we'll reopen next week. And if that day you all left early, then the following day was a Friday, and the staff and the faculty actually met so that we could figure out next steps. And then on Saturday, LA Unified had closed down, so we're like, uh-oh. So it was just a domino effect of like, what else is happening, you know? No, it was so, there were so many initial reactions. Then it's like, okay, so can we open for graduation? No. Can we open for fall of the next school year? No. So yeah, it was just a lot of like waiting on pins and needles.
Like this is relating to a year into the pandemic, there have been several changes in protocols and the way of life. Have there been any changes made to past protocols for COVID-19, and how frequently did the faculty staff check for COVID-19 updates as well?
Well, okay. So yes, a lot of protocols that because of COVID changed, such as school starting at 9. If you remember,
Yeah.
last year and years before, we started around like 8:30. Yeah, and then everyone realized I like waking up at 9, so we continued that even for on campus. For how long we checked often. Mr. Grady, Miss Kong, Nurse Hazel were always on the call with Dr. Ferrero. She is the director of the LA County of Public Health. And so they were always on the next steps of like, where are we in terms of like LA and what can we do and how can we be the most safe to open this school immediately. And with the younger kids, we wanted to do that as soon as possible. So we've actually been open since February, especially for the younger kids. And then slowly by slowly, you know, as restrictions lax, just because there was less cases, then we were like more comfortable with like, okay, now we can bring in middle school and then finally high school. But it took a lot of work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to ask you for the next question, because I heard that a while ago you literally just said to me that high school student would never ever be able to go back on campus, you know, but apparently that now most of us are on campus right now. What was the turning point? Or what changed that led to this decision?
Yeah, no, like good segue. Like I said, I didn't want to raise your hopes like during online remote learning. I didn't want to say like, yeah, we can, because you know, it didn't happen before. Like we were hurt, right? Like last year we were like, yeah, we're going to open, and we didn't. So I really didn't want to raise your hopes, but like little by little with the vaccine, with like Nurse Hazel actually implementing like COVID testing every week so that we wouldn't like, you know, we wouldn't have like a breakout in school, right? Because then that would risk us shutting down. So yeah, like it was a group effort, and it was also really, you know, looking into the statistics of LA County and what was okay. So we always wanted to be the safest and the best.
Yeah. Well, how did you and all the staff faculty members feel about the decision specifically? And were you guys ready for it?
No, never. Are you kidding me? I'm still not ready for it. Like, yeah, I mean, how are you ever ready for a pandemic? Like, what does that even mean, right? And then you all have spent online remote learning for a good 7 months of this school year, and then to transition from like being in my pajamas and staring at a screen to like, oh my god, there's a lot of people in this room. Like it takes a lot, and everybody is transitioning differently and at different paces, and we all have to be, everyone's doing their best, but you can't predict how you would react to something to this scale.
Yeah. And you mentioned before with Nurse Hazel changing things up and making COVID tests every week. Other than the ones you mentioned, are there any other immediate actions or plans that were made in such a short time?
Yes. At least for reopening, Nurse Hazel did the testing every week, and then we had to do health screenings. So everybody who comes to campus, everybody has to be temperature checked and have screening questions like, are you experiencing symptoms of cough, shortness of breath, chills, or fever, right? And that was even just like if you were to come just to do sports, right? You still had to be health screened. You still had to be tested, right? And then Mr. Grady and Mr. Jose Reyes, he's the director of facilities, they went and measured every classroom to make sure that every desk was 6 feet apart. And then no, I swear, like if you see some of the classrooms, there'll be a note saying like 14 people capacity, 3 people capacity. God. No, yeah, like I mean, this was again beginning where it was like we were in the red tier, so we had to abide to the rules, right? That's why you see if the ARC lab has kindergarten now, because the original kindergarten class was too small. So we needed to maximize the space to ensure that everybody is learning and social distancing.
That's so much work. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's just why I want to have this conversation with you, you know, because a lot of students, they just might not be able to appreciate it and just like take it for granted a little bit. So that's why I want to ask you these kind of questions and kind of add to what you've been sharing with us. What was the biggest challenge while preparing for students to go back to school among those and other ones?
I mean, it's all a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just keeping you all safe. It's like really like trying to prepare if there were a breakout, like what are the protocols, right? If like somebody gets sick, like if nothing is working, like we have to find the gap, right? And so honestly, all of it was hard because here's the thing. This has never happened before. Like we have never, you know what I mean? So like, how do you plan something that has no precedent?
Right.
So it's like, let's figure it out as we go, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of changes. And I guess that's actually, I'll say this, the hardest part was managing the changes. Because one, you don't know when it's gonna come. And then when it comes, it's like, you don't have enough time to process this. And then two, okay, now I processed it, but now I have to plan XYZ so that we can get kids on campus as soon as possible, right? So it was a big group effort, and it has been incredibly difficult for everybody. Because not only that, COVID is happening, right? Like what if somebody you know has COVID? What if you have COVID and you are sick and you can't function? Like, so yeah. It's so hard.
Yeah. So this is an extra question. I was just wondering, there's so much thing that you guys did together, all the staff and faculty. Were there any moment, or did you guys have any argument or like misunderstanding and like
all the time
you guys don't agree with and like fight, you know?
Well, it's not really like disagreements. It's more about like, did we get all the details? Like, I think originally I had thought that like, oh, any COVID test is okay. Let's do like rabbit test is okay. And then Nurse Hazel was like, no, because that's not accurate enough. So she mandated PCR. So again, it's like you learn by trial and error, right? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, we can't use rapid because it's not accurate, so we have to use PCR. But that gets us closer to planning the protocol and ensuring that everybody is safe. So I don't know about disagreements. It's more about like, let's figure it out together, right?
That's good. That's good. So, talking about the student, like all this topic that's surrounding about students, some of the students' behavior are uncertain. Were you able to predict the risk of coming back to school during the pandemic and make sure that those risks would not hinder students' learning and safety?
Okay, girl, like we couldn't even predict the pandemic. How am I gonna predict like
Oh, no.
like kids like
Yeah.
habits? Look, that's why we had testing in place for every week, right? We had testing for every, because like I can't go to each student and be like, where were you? Who were you hanging out? Like that's impossible, and that's also like privacy issues. Like we're not gonna do that. So at least we can test for that weekend if you were being safe. That's the least we can do, right? And also to respect each other's lives. Like you have a life outside of Pilgrim. Like we're not gonna question you about, interrogate you, right? But to ensure safety, it has to be all those things. Like we have to test, we have to follow the protocol, what's allowed in LA City. We have to follow the tier, closely watch it. Like now I believe we're in the yellow tier and we might be in the green tier. And so that's why Nurse Hazel has laxed the testing. Now we test every 2 weeks. And also like vaccinated people can opt out of testing. So again, that's also another thing, vaccinations. We have it, right? In the beginning of like the school year and even of last school year, we didn't have that stuff in place. And so we were still like in red, maybe in purple. So yeah, like it is safer now because of all the protocols and the learning in place.
Well, we are talking about how all these changes happened, and now it's gotten better. As you said, we might be in the green zone. But still, under these specific circumstances, are you happy with the current situation? And do you think the staff and faculty have been doing a great job in managing all of this and everything?
These are hard questions. Look, I mean, there can always be improvements, right? Nothing is perfect, and no system is perfect yet. And we learn by doing and by practicing and by the mistakes. Now, like, I mean, I'm just going to be perfectly transparent, but like transitioning from online to going on campus and with the pandemic, and like if you have family members that are going through something, like everybody is different. So to transition from that, everybody is processing it differently and reacting to it differently, right?
Yeah.
Like it was so stressful for me. I was breaking out into hives. I was like, I had a full body like hives, right? Yeah, it was crazy. It was so itchy, and my skin was on fire. Okay, I had all these red bumps, and I wanted to scratch like everything. That happened the weekend right before we were gonna reopen for elementary. Like you all weren't even here yet, So every change that happens, it is happening in a point where it's like so impactful, and I can't even predict how I'm going to react, and everybody else can't predict how they are going to react. So it's like a big melting pot of like, oh my God, what are we doing? Okay, but let's do it for the kids, right? Let's do it for the kids.
Yeah.
And I think that's the driving force that makes us like stronger emotionally and mentally, right? Like, you know what? Like these kids have been out for a good 7 months. We gotta do it for the kids, and we gotta make them safe and give them this time to see each other, to socialize, to be human beings. Human beings are meant to like interact with each other, and we are powerful in numbers. So really the driving force was that, right? But it's also like, you asked if was this the best or can it be better? Of course it can be better. And we can't do the best if we're not at our best. And we can't be at our best when we just went through something so traumatic. Come on. I mean, what do you kids think? How have we been doing good by you all?
Absolutely. That's just amazing. For me, it's just crazy. Like how I see how you specifically, like you involved in so much, and I'm like how I can see you literally go around and still put like handing out the student schedule, because that's like when you go back to school, but you still have change.
Yeah, a teacher actually said the best thing to encapsulate what we're all feeling right now in terms of school is that like it feels like the first few weeks of school where you don't know your schedule, you don't know where anything is, you don't know the new protocols, so everybody's lost and everybody skips class, and then but combined with like the last month of school where it's like we gotta do AP testing, we gotta like do all these events, these graduations, these celebrations, because oh my god, summer's coming. So that combined together, and a pandemic, by the way.
Just to add that little pepper in there, cherry on top.
So amazing! Like I can't even imagine what you guys did in the school. It's just I don't know. I feel like students are just so like chill, just go to school and take tests, but they don't know that behind all this effort, that you guys run so hard to bring us back to school and like
because
socialize.
I mean, there's credit to you all, right? Like, because me as a kid, I didn't have to go through this, right? Yeah. So it's more of like, gosh, like, that sucks that you guys missed out on a whole year of high school, like almost a whole year. And so it's more like, yes, everybody has been through this, but there is some comfort that like you all know what we all went through, right? Oh, remember that time when we were closed down during a pandemic? No. Like there is some comfort that the whole world is a part of it and we all know, and you should all give yourself credit for doing online learning, for doing on-campus learning, for, it's insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I got chills and think about in the future and talking about these times. Oh my god. Yeah.
Also, like you said that nothing's perfect, right? At least, yeah. And definitely, and you said not the things going on at school are perfect yet either. And this is the last question, but what improvements would you like to see in the last few weeks of this school year?
I mean, a lot. Like, so we have a lot of events coming up. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I would like the improvements would be just like communication to be more fluid and everybody on the right page. There's a flurry of a lot of emails and not everyone reads all the emails and reads all the information. So a lot of communication gets dropped. So that can be definitely improved, because with improved communications, with improved information, and with our protocols in place and well practiced, then we can make those events that are happening like graduation and promotion or prom, right? Or art fest, like all these things that are happening. I would like for everyone to know the information, to participate and come, because this is why we open it, to really grow our community and strengthen it, right? And spend time with each other.
Yeah.
That's a very warm, warm-hearted wish. I mean, think about it. It's just too sad. Like, this pandemic makes the communication part, which is like the most important thing about humans. Just like,
well, yeah. I mean, like I'm just trying to be realistic, and I think this is a doable action, right? Yeah. I think we can all and look, it's good to communicate so that we know that we're not alone, right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, even though we went through this traumatic thing, we did it together, right?
I'm still online. And I'm like like even though I'm still online, now that some people are back on campus, I don't feel like I'm left out more now, but I feel like it's going back to normal. And now even because I couldn't get the vaccine before because I was too young, but now I can get it apparently, and it's great. Soon I'll probably be coming back too.
Good.
So
I know it was so crazy just to see all you all come back, and it's like, who is that? Why are they taller? Why do they have longer hair? Like, oh my god. So yeah, like, and look, like, I mean, just doing this, we're doing a hybrid podcast right now. So how did we figure this out, right? That's why I give you all some credit. Like, it pushes you to really adapt, and that's actually the theme of this year. So, I mean, kudos to you kids. Like if I was your age, I would be like, oh my god, I can't do anything, right?
So
But you manage. You're like, all right, here's another problem. Let's do this. Oh my god, my battery's losing. Can I use your computer? You know, like, oh my god, is this mic? Is that mic? Do we have a recorder? You pivot, right? Human beings are very adaptable, and you have shown it. All of you kids.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you, yeah.
do you that was the last question, but do you have any other comments or things that you want to share with the podcast audience?
No, I mean, look, I know I introduced myself as like I support the secondary faculty and also Mr. Grady, but like by supporting them, I do support you all. So if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to email me. And if I don't know how to answer your question, I will find out for you. So, you know, I think, and this goes to the whole entire staff and faculty, is that like, we will always advocate for your education, but we will always make ourselves accessible. So if you ever need anything, please reach out to any of us. Communication.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I hope you guys will listen to this message and, keep that in mind and, improve.
Oh, I mean, look, that's life, right? You're always going to improve. Like, the longer you live, the better you're going to get at whatever you want. So just have the intention and live.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's the end of our interview with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on our podcast. It was a really good experience to listen. And thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, Angus. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Ariana.
Thank you, yeah.
As always, thank you to our listeners for taking the time to listen to our podcast. We hope you learned something throughout the podcast and feel more connected to the guests as well as us, the host of the show.
We will be back with another episode next time. Please like,
share,
and subscribe.
Or follow us on our Instagram at whatsup.pilgrim21. And be sure to stay positive
and always safe.